Minasan konnichiwa. It's another episode of Show You Japanese Random Talk. Just finished my visa application, my renewal visa application. It's 302. Actually, I was here since 5:40 this morning, finally getting done. And you know, there's tons of people still waiting outside. This marks 1 week after the earthquake. I'll show you some of the action, and I'll tell you more when I get home. So let's just check this out. Here we go. This is the Saitama Immigration Center, and you can see behind me there's just a lot of people. People are making a mad dash to get out of the country, so they need the re-entry visas. I'll show you what I mean. Here we go. Okay, I lied. I said I wasn't going to make any more videos about the pertaining to the earthquake here in Japan, but here it is, another video. But I did say unless it was interesting, and I think this might be a little bit interesting. I just want to tell you my story about today. In my last video, talking about day 5 and day 6, recapping day 5 and day 6, I was saying that I was thinking about going to renew my visa for staying here in Japan. And actually, in that earlier part of the video, I said people are trying to get their re-entry visas. I made a mistake. It's actually re-entry permits for their existing visas. So if you leave the country without these re-entry permits, your visa expires. You can't use your visa anymore. So by getting the re-entry permit, it allows you to leave the country and then come back in, and your visa is still valid. So I think people just are making a mad dash to leave the country until things kind of settle, so when things get better they can come back in. That's what I meant to say. But anyway, in my last video I was saying I was thinking about getting my visa done, and you know what? There's a really long story behind this that I'm not going to tell you, but I decided to do it today, and boy, this was really tiring. I'm going to tell you the story very quickly, so stick with me if you want to, because I think it's kind of fun, if not funny at all, but I think it's kind of interesting. Yesterday I went down to the immigration center just to check out how things were. I talked to the guy down there. He said on Wednesday people were lining up at 5:30 in the morning. Their hours are from 9 to 4, but people started lining up at 5:30 in the morning, and because of the rolling blackouts, power outages, they ended up servicing people all the way till midnight. And then yesterday I went back and that was yesterday. I talked to the guy yesterday, and he said that was the situation. You saw my video showing the long line of people. I'll show that to you again in just a second. But anyway, today, hearing that, I thought, well, I better get myself down there as quickly as possible. I had a hard time waking up, but I headed down there at 5:40. I reached the immigration center, and I was feeling really happy because when I walked up to the front entrance, there was nobody there except for the immigration officers, the workers. So when I got to the door, the guy tells me, "Do you have that slip from yesterday?" And I said, what slip are you talking about? And he says, well, if you don't have it, then you have to go down the street because the line's already forming. I thought, what? So what had happened was the day before, when I was talking to the immigration officer the day before, that was about 5 o'clock. He told, I mean, shortly after that, at 6:20 there was a rolling blackout that ran until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So the immigration center closed. But at that time there were about 600 people who were in line. So what they did was they gave them a slip of paper saying that you have priority in lining up for getting your visa the next day, which was today here on Friday. So 5:40 in the morning, I walk down the street and there's over 100 people already lined up at 5:40 in the morning. Then at about 7:30, the immigration officer comes and makes the announcement about those 600 people and the rolling blackout the day before, and says that we're probably not going to be moving until after lunch because they need to service those 600 people first. Yeah. Now that was really making me go nuts, and I'm sure a lot of people too. Just to let you know, 5:40 in the morning today decided to be very winter-like. It was -2 degrees Celsius, which is 29 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cold, but I dressed up for it. I didn't care about my fashion. I made sure I was warm. My feet were cold, but anyway, let me show you what the line started looking like, because by 9 o'clock when they opened, that thing was going around the block. I don't have actual footage of it because I was in line. I'm gonna show you the video of Wednesday's line, and just to let you know, it was even longer. Over 1,000 people were in line in back of us, and that line was not gonna move until lunchtime. So maybe you're thinking this, but a natural concern with being in line in cold weather for such a long time is using the toilet, right? That's what you're thinking, right? Well, anyway, I started thinking that after 5 hours of being in line, I was thinking, hey, pretty soon I think I'm gonna have to go. But I lined up by myself, so I was trying to think, well, what do I do? And all of the foreigners that were around me were non-English speaking foreigners. So I was gonna make friends. But just as that was happening at about 10:45, those magic slips of paper, they started passing out time interval slips of paper with numbers on them to give to us. So it basically, my paper said at 1 o'clock, get in line and you're number 126. 126. So anyway, at 1 p.m. 126, I had to come back. I don't know how many numbers they actually lined up for the 1 o'clock time slot, but I know there was a 3 o'clock time slot and a 5 o'clock time slot. I'm not sure if there was a 7 o'clock time slot, but I know there were people with 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock time slips. So anyway, we got that, and then people started relining up again. So monkey see, monkey do. I started doing that too, because I'm thinking I don't want to wait in another line again. But the immigration officer comes and says there's no meaning in lining up, because at 1 p.m., those of you who have the 1 p.m. time slip, when you come back, come back at 1 p.m. because we're gonna line you up in number order. So let's move the story forward. Within an hour, at about 2 o'clock, I was able to get inside. They were moving us pretty fast. people who were doing re-entry permits were moving along fairly quickly. People who were doing visas like myself took a little bit longer, which is why I got out at about 3 o'clock. So I had a little bit of waiting to do inside, and a little bit more paperwork to do inside they said I needed to do. But that moved along fairly well, so I got out by 3 o'clock. I need to say this. In all of this, the whole situation, you know how we foreigners can be. We complain a lot and we're very vocal, especially the Western culture. I think the real heroes here, I'm gonna side with the Japanese people, because these immigration officers really serviced us well. They kept their cool in the midst of complaining. They tried to calm us down. They tried to answer our questions as much as possible. And they've been there since 5 o'clock in the morning, and they had to do the long haul all the way till midnight on Wednesday. And when I got there at 5:40 this morning, they were there. When I left, they were still working. So, you know, they're human beings and they're working really hard. So, you know, I just really want to say thank you to those immigration officers for the service that they're giving to us foreigners. Anyway, I got out at 3. The lady who was serviced me for my application basically said that she believes easily that they've serviced 10,000 people this week alone, just because of this paranoia going on with the earthquakes. So she says she's hoping that it'll calm down very soon. It'll probably carry over into next week, but that's what happened. So now I'm gonna show you a video, because I show you at 3 p.m. 3:02 that I finished and I'm walking outside. Then I started messing around doing all of these other video things, but then this is what happens. Check this out. Right now it's about 3:20. I told you I just came out of the immigration center. You know, lucky for me, but not good news for all of those people. Why? Because the rolling blackouts just started, and power's out in this area, which means it's going to be off for the next hour to 3 or 3.5 hours. So here's a little bit of what's going on right now. You can check it out. Traffic lights are out, you can see this, so cars are just trying to make their way through. This is the electric company car giving an announcement. So this is how I spent my day today, here on the 1 week anniversary of the big earthquake here in Japan. I'm glad that at 2:46 inside I was able to catch the television, taking a moment of silence to remind me of what actually is happening here. People up north are getting it worse, so you know, just hang in there. When I got out, I was relieved, and I just really feel sorry for the people who had to stay back. You know what, in just a few moments though, I'm gonna take a drive down there, because I have to go towards that way. I'm gonna try and shoot some video to see what's actually happening there, if people are still in line or not, because the power came back on, which is why I'm able to do this video. We'll catch you guys later, and thanks again for watching. Jane.